I welcome the opportunity to speak on this important piece of legislation and to do so from the perspective of what it will mean for social protection in particular. There are over 132,000 people living here in receipt of a state pension from England. There are approximately 1,000 people living here receiving child benefits from Britain in respect of children residing here in this state. There are 28,760 people residing in Britain and the North who are in receipt of a contributory state pension from this state also. Some 840 people residing in Britain and the North are in receipt of full state child benefit payments from this state. These payments are in respect of 1,830 children, or 95% of whom live in the North. So unlike much of the debate around Brexit, the issues around protecting our current social protection arrangements concern real people, some very vulnerable people, older people, children, and indeed families. And the importance of protecting these who rely on assistance from either England or Ireland is paramount. Taking the bill on its own, the sections which are associated with social protection matters appear limited, however. I do acknowledge that the bulk of the necessary information forms part of the Convention on Social Security signed recently by both governments. This is a real safety net for those who first thought after the Brexit vote was the future payment of their source of income for individuals, for older people and for families. For those who live in England and receive social assistance payments from Ireland, and for those who live in Ireland and receive social assistance payments from England. Crucial here was the safeguarding of the reciprocal arrangements in place for rights and entitlements, which currently exist for Irish and English citizens moving within the common travel area, and I'm glad that this has been achieved in the Convention. This is not simply a document to remain the status quo, it is a legal binding agreement. And this will bring comfort to the many thousands of people living here receiving a payment from England and to our own Irish citizens living in England. One issue I have raised with Minister Doherty, and I'll raise it again here this evening, is the end of any overlapping payments as set out in the Convention, which states that to quote, the right to two or more benefits of the same type, and that will cease. The only payment concerned here is the fuel allowance and the winter fuel payment. Neither are based on contributions made. Currently, those living in Ireland can and do receive both payments, the fuel allowance here and a winter fuel payment from England. And this will not continue to be the case post-Brexit. And this does signal a change in current arrangements. And the number of people living here in receipt of winter fuel payment is not insignificant. In fact, the number has been growing rapidly since 2002, when only 660 people received the payment, to the 31,656 people receiving it last year. I've sought clarification from Minister Doherty as to what this will mean for those living here who do not qualify for fuel allowance and only receive the winter fuel payment, to ensure that they will continue receiving it. So the bottom line is this. It is the convention signed by both governments that provides the greatest protections when it comes to social protection, ensuring what currently exists for Irish and British citizens moving between Ireland and Britain under the common travel area are safeguarded and maintained. However, I do want the Minister to clarify the situation with the winter fuel payment, and I think it is very important that she does clarify that with urgency. And this important legislation that we hope will never need to be enacted. It is important to remember, however, why we are dealing with this mess, and very much at the 12th hour with no deal in place. Brexit is a result of weak leadership in Britain within the Tory party. It is very much the result of an internal squabble between two posh Tories, and history shows that they have no regard whatsoever for Ireland, least of all the wishes of the people in the north who voted to remain within the EU. And indeed, the Tory mass slipped when it was proposed that they would use food shortages in Ireland in order to pressurise the Irish government in the Brexit negotiations. And this is important legislation for the people of Ireland, whether they're in the north, the south, east or west, and we won't be opposing it, but we will be constructively trying to strengthen it in the many areas that it does need to be strengthened. All good.